Okay, so isometrics applied a little bit here. I've had these work really well with a lot of big time lifters after long layoffs. So for instance, Vince DiCenzo, he just bench pressed last year 600 in his third weight class. He's like 45 years old, master's lifter, raw. And at the Elite Fitness seminar about 16 weeks earlier, he missed 535. And when he told me he wanted to bench 600, he was weighing 290 at the time. He had to come down, lose 15 pounds and gain 65 pounds on his bench. You know, that calls for an unconventional strategy. So we threw in the isometrics. He was able to do it, brought his strength back up. Big Al Davis, he's had some, you know, long layoffs before. When he's come back, you know, throwing the isometrics, and it brings his strength up really quick. So for really good lifters that have had long layouts, this seems to bring their strength up really quickly. And I don't have proof, I don't have like, that's bro science on my part, but it's seeming that it does hold true. So it is what it is. This could be used in preparation for a powerlifting meet, in the off season, or in contest prep. So if you want to just target a sticking point when you don't have a contest coming up, use it. You need to put the finishing touches on before a contest, use it. Without maximum contraction, you're wasting your time. So when we're pushing, I'm going to show some video examples of what I'm talking about. But if you're not doing these 100%, you're totally wasting your time. You're not getting anything out of it. And one of the ways we're going to circumvent any of the negatives potentially is we want to, after each isometric set, we want to perform a compensatory acceleration training set 2 to 7 minutes later. You want to perform each isometric contraction for 5 to 6 seconds. Gains seem to really spike for about 6 to 8 weeks, and then they quit working so much. So you want to use these cyclically, a couple times a year probably. And they must be trained with dynamic movements. Basically, if you do one in the deadlift, bench press, whatever, do that movement, full range of motion as explosively as possible, 2 to 7 minutes after. Here's a functional isometric right here. Here's one example. That's Peter right there. So on the last rep there, he's pushing as hard as he can. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, Josh. They had safety bars, right?
Yes.
So he's pushing maximum force against the safety bar.
That's exactly it. That's the immovable object. So if you don't have a power rack, unless you have like really good training partners that you really trust, this probably is not really a viable option. Okay, so the functional isometrics here, I learned these from Charles Poliquin. You do them inside a power rack. You want to set your pins at your sticking point for, in that case, that was his lockout. So he's gonna do 6 to 8 reps. Okay, then at the end, he's gonna do it as hard as he can for 6 seconds. And the amount of weight to use that Charles Poliquin, the guideline he gave was, you should not be able to do another rep after. So, it's probably gonna be in this range, like for most people, like 70, 75% of what their max would be following those guidelines.
Instead of just using a bar like you were doing in the picture, what about using a moderate weight?
That's exactly what we're talking about. So
okay, that's
that was just
what I thought the point was.
said, hey, we need to film this real quick for this.
Well, hey, take your time. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about 70, 75%. It's a good starting point on that particular one.
So as far as placement, where are you in your like say you're hitting a bench day?
Yeah.
When are you implementing those?
I would do it as a second exercise because it's a very important exercise and want to be fresh for it. But if you're training to get stronger in the bench press, nothing takes place for the bench press. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. This is prison yard isometrics right here. We actually have Tyrus from here demonstrating it. Sorry, we don't have a little low volume. It will show the movement here pretty quick. So this is the prison yard isometric. So see, I'm right there spotting Al, and I'm stopping him at his sticking point. Then he's got 2 more reps after. And you better, I'm going to talk about this a little more, you better make sure you have good training partners to do this one. And like, you know, it's the old thing of anything totally safe is, you know, totally useless. So if you're just doing general fitness, probably not a good idea. This was inspired by the 195 rule in California. Anybody ever heard of that? Basically, before they took the weights out of the prisons, they welded 195 on. You couldn't do any more than that. So what the inmates would do is they would press against the bar to add extra resistance. So you now have 2 very competent spotters, or excuse me, a very competent spotter. You better not have 2 would be an issue. But you want to use 70 to 85%. We're doing it for like on the first rep. You're gonna stop it. They're gonna hold it for 4 to 5 seconds. You're gonna release, and they're gonna do 2 more explosive reps. This is the isometric cat contrast. This one you don't need to add extra weight on the bar. This is the whole point, just working that sticking point. So just pushing as hard as you can. 5 to 6 seconds, we'd follow it up with an explosive bench press. Okay, so that one inside a power rack, you know, bar only, and the 60-80% here's not, there's no weight on the bar. It's just how much weight you do the explosive set with after. Okay, so now we're talking about a little about some other assisting bench press movements. This is a wide grip pause bench press with Jeremy Hornstra, and notice his grip. Not, you guys are probably thinking, wide grip, is this guy crazy? He doesn't look very wide to me, but I'll explain why. Okay, so with the wide grip, we want it approximately 1.5 inches wider than normal so we can still handle a pretty good amount of weight and not overstrain your shoulders too much. So if you're gripping like really close right here, you know, then you're gonna be out right here. So it's a wide grip relative to what you do. So 1.5 inches wider than normal. We want to do these for 6 to 10 reps, and you're going to pause for 1 second at the bottom of each rep. Now, if you're longer limbed, and especially if you're longer limbed and thinner, I would avoid this movement. It's going to put a lot of strain on your shoulders. So this is a good movement for people that have a pretty good build to bench press. But you know, if you don't, you got that angle down there, put a ton of stress on your shoulders. So I would advise avoiding this movement. Same thing here with the Cambered bar bench press. This is, anybody here ever heard of Mike McDonald? Powerlifter Mike McDonald, he had the world record in the bench press, 80s, 70s. So he would do the Cambered bar. The Cambered bar he used would have this is about a 3-inch camber, so he had a 5-inch camber on there. He'd come all the way down to his chest. So what we're trying to do here is just create a slight deficit. So it's like, that's about a 1/2 inch lower than normal. That extra range of motion provides a huge overload to him. And again, if you have long arms and you're not like very barrel chested, I wouldn't do this movement. But the deficit you're creating there needs to be 1 inch maximum. That's why in that video, we had extra boards in there so he doesn't go, you know, any deeper than that. So this is Ed Cohn right here. He was kind enough to do this demo for us. Anybody ever heard of him? He kept text messaging when I told him about this lift because he kept talking about how much he felt it and stuff. So all it is you're doing a regular bench press and you're just pausing for a second or two, about 1 inch off your chest. That's it, nothing. And this was actually inspired by Eric Soto, who currently has the world record raw on the bench press. I saw his videos and he kept stopping short of his chest. And then he transitioned to 4-inch motion, but he's like, you know, he's gonna suck, he's gonna go down 100 pounds. Well, he just picked right up where he was and kicked everybody's ass. So, I mean, that was that. And so I figured, you know, my logic being if that worked for him, you know, why can't it work for other people? And it has. So it's a great way to build tightness. It has a huge transfer of training to your regular lift, and it even really helps your bottom end strength because you really have to stay tight right there. Dead bench. So he's just in a power rack right there. Weight can start, you know, about 1 inch off your chest, 1/2 inch off your chest, 2 inches, and I'll explain the differences. So,
If we started in a negative position, or what's the terminology for?
There is no negative. You know what I'm saying? Like you're talking the negative's the way down, right?
Okay, yeah.
we're getting rid of that. And I'm gonna explain why. That's a good observation, because that's the whole point. So when you go down on it, Rolando, right?
Yes, sir.
Rolando? Yeah, because I remember your message. So, okay, so the negative portion of the lift, you're storing elastic-like energy. It's going to basically assist you to lift the weight back up, okay? So we're going to get rid of that right here. So it's going to be harder. There's no negative phase that's going to help you anymore. It's all on you. There's no elastic energy helping you. So for that reason, we want to do singles only here. If we start doing pumping out a bunch of reps, where's the training effect? Why are we doing this? Wouldn't make sense. So we want to vary the sets, the reps, the rest periods. The sets, the rest, the weight on the bar, not the actual reps. This is very tough to do for a tall man. Why is this harder for tall people? What's the one advantage a tall man has in the bench press? Anybody? Advantage.
Legs up more.
Exactly. You're getting that long stretch down, so they're storing that elastic-like energy. So they actually do have one sort of advantage. So that being said, it's gonna be very hard for them, but they're gonna get probably the most benefit out of it too. With that being said, also if you have long arms, start it more like 2 inches off your chest. Okay, because you're not getting that. You get that elastic energy. You're automatically go 2 inches. You miss the weight. You give such a long stroke. It's, oh, okay, I'm right to here, barely even pushed. Where like Jeremy Hornster, somebody has short arms, you're gonna start it like right off your chest to about a ½ inch off your chest. So most people, if I said, what is it for everybody? I'd say an inch. That'd be probably a pretty safe guesstimate where no one's gonna be real far off. Okay, board pressing. Anybody ever do board presses? Okay, great overload. I think generally we're using for 1 to 5 boards. I guess there would be like 6 boards for people with real long arms, but they're good for obviously overloading your training for people that have shoulder issues that want to keep on pressing, that can't go full range all the time. They're good for mechanical advantage drop sets. So if you're for more bodybuilding training, if you're doing like a drop set, what that would mean is you do a certain amount of reps close grip. You do the same thing to 1 board, the same thing to 2 board, and you have a partner, keep adding boards. And anybody here ever heard of progressive distance training? Old school. This is like Paul Anderson and way before that. But what it is basically like, so when people would say squat, they would like set the pins on the squat rack and barely go down and keep putting it lower. You do the same thing here with the boards. I mean, if you did the same type of thing, what you have to do is just like make very small increments on the boards, and then so each board would be like really like 5 little boards with it, and then like those boards, you remember those, Sherry, when you made those red boards? It's exactly what it'd be used for. So I mean, I've only tried that with one person, just wanted to do like a guinea pig thing, and I didn't think it'd work. It actually did, so just throwing it out there. Okay. So now we're see one of my other favorite lifts for bringing up the bench press is dips, and we got a little example here of dips and board presses. First you got the close grip. This is what I was talking about right here with the mechanical advantage drop set. So obviously for bodybuilding, the powerlifting workout, if you wanted to have a good triceps finisher. So he's going 5 reps close grip, going to two boards, to 3 boards, 4 boards, and finishing off with 5. So this difference between this and a regular drop set is, instead of decreasing weight, we're increasing mechanical advantage. Okay, here's one of my other favorite lifts to help with the bench press is weighted dips. It's an oldie but goodie. Okay, dips were a staple in old school routines, especially with people when they're doing a lot of overhead pressing and things like that. you know, we really want to work these up heavy and weighting, assuming you don't have any elbow or shoulder issues. Sometimes these actually be a substitute with certain people that have those type of issues. But, you know, if you do have shoulder issues, you know, you want to proceed with caution with these. Chain flies. Anybody ever seen these before? It's a great way to strengthen your chest right here. Why would these be more effective than regular flies? Anybody? There you go.
You have to use all your smaller muscle fibers in order to lift it.
That's true too.
You're tense the whole time because it's uneven weight.
Yeah, both of you guys make good points. So basically, like, what's your name? Yeah.
Maxine.
Max, like Maxine said. So basically, the resistance is going to increase. So when you're in your most vulnerable, weakest position, the resistance is the least. And as you get to the favorable leverage and it's easier, you got to lift more. So basically, you're overloading the entire range of motion instead of just the bottom portion. So basically, do these like a giant bear hug. Okay, so the bend in your elbow does not change the whole time. Okay, they're not nearly as taxing on your shoulders, and as Maxine said, as leverage improves, so does resistance. These are very good for muscle hypertrophy. You can go extremely heavy on these. Okay, so then another question I get a lot is with single joint movements, do we include them in powerlifting training? Absolutely. So I don't think there's like a big movement versus a small movement. Some people get so roped into certain categories, like, you know, like curls are gay, I'm not gonna do curls, or like, you know, lift big, get big. You know, it's not exactly like that. There's gonna be some crossover. If you have a certain weakness and you don't correct it, you know, you're gonna have compensatory movement patterns. So you want to definitely integrate movements, you know, like the movement intention lifts, but then do the isolation lifts and more of a muscle intention. So if you're going to fly, instead of, like we said earlier, instead of ballistically just trying to swing the dumbbells, you want to actually try to feel the chest doing the work. And pretty much every anecdote from, you know, way back is going to support using a blended approach. Okay, and here's some of just my favorite. I know we're starting to go a little over time here. Here's some of my favorite chest exercises right here for more isolation lifts. Flies, cable flies, band resistant flies, just put a band around your back, holding dumbbells in your hands, incline, decline, flat chain flies. For biceps, Gironda perfect curls. If you don't know what that is and you want to know, just hit me up on email and I'll send you a video that's going to show you better than I can explain it. Hammer curls, incline dumbbell curls, and one arm eccentric barbell curls. For shoulders, military press variations of all sorts, front raises, face pulls, and the Ronnie Coleman rear delt machine. We have a Metroflex, which is basically your torso's in a horizontal position, and you can do an invert fly from that position. Triceps, JM press, Dix press, the V handle tricep chain extensions, and tape presses. For upper back stuff, I like bent over rows, T-bar rows, both prison style and chest supported, one arm dumbbell rows, and neutral grip pull-ups. And just wanted to let people know, if they haven't seen my new book, Built to the Hilt's out. It's available at Elite Fitness. Got any questions? If not, we can, before we take a break after this, and we'll come back.
Real quick on the question.
Go ahead.
Used to be the overloaded eccentric phase of the bench press was pretty popular training tool. I noticed you didn't mention it. Is that something not used in today's world?
I would say it's not used very much, but I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. My favorite way to do that is with weight releasers. You know what those are?
Yeah.
That's the way I like to do it. So then any potential negative someone can identify, you can fire right back up in that positive. You're going to push it back up more explosively. So I think, you know, in some cases people have gotten softer too. So, you know, just that's hard. It's scary. Yeah, you know.
And have to be careful with it. It's a good way to get hurt.
Norm.
What's your opinion on like a slingshot or tight ramp for
I think they're great for raw bench pressing. As an accessory movement to overload, absolutely. Especially if you have any pec or shoulder issues, that can allow you to press more and get a little more volume in overloaded triceps. You can even use them on dips too.
You mentioned Paul Dick's press. I was watching videos of that. When you're rolling that barbell back, is the purpose of that to stretch
Yes.
the inside? Okay. Okay.
You want to take it to about your chin level too.
Chin.